Okay, I've literally just fired up my screen for the first time today. I've only got back from Kiev a few hours ago, so just had a great time. It's a beautiful place. Love to go back again. Didn't see too much of it. I took these shots just before I went. My hotel where the conference was just off this square, so I took these shots just before I went into the conference to give my speeches. Don't worry, there's not many shots here. This is I think it's a Ukrainian general who freed Ukraine of the Russians, I think. That's me. There was a special event on. It was the St. Nicholas Day celebrations, and they were just getting going. This is during the day, obviously before I went to the conference. So that was her idea, the whole the tale, not my idea. That's me looking a bit worried. That's me being eaten up. That's just one example of the beautiful Orthodox churches that are scattered around the area. That's an example of some of the architecture, all post-war, because Kiev was flattened in the war. That's the hotel where the conference was. That's me coming out of the conference at night. And this is the celebrations in the evening. So it just went on all day and really stoked up in the evening. Lots on at the stage. And that's it. Back to where I started. A nighttime view of the St. Sophia Tower. Now, these are people up here that you can pay it, but they couldn't at 50p to walk up there and get the view. Right, charts. They interviewed me at the end of the conference and asked me my view on the Euro-US, and I said, they asked me if it's going to go to parity. I said it might surprise us. So at the moment, we're holding up. It's obviously a very, very slow day. So might as well start to think about what's in store for 2016. And you can see just with a bare chart with the fibs up there, if we start closing above 110, we might see some kind of recovery because we're still benefiting from the big push up after the ECB decision. A big decision, just lower to the fibs, and then we get the push close to this fib zone. So we're moving between these two fib zones at the moment. We could easily, of course, see the dollar strength, potential for 4, 5 or more rate rises next year, according to estimates. So this could, of course, just crash into resistance and roll over. Elliott wave wise, there's potentially wave 1. This is potentially wave 2 setting up. And I think we probably will test 111. Sorry, 110. What am I talking about? Get your brain in gear. I think we could come and test 110, and at that point we need to make a decision as to what we're going to do. So we're already, I can see from just looking at the numbers around the charts, we are already experiencing really low volume. Not a lot happening at all. Just scanning the prices. Looks like we're in for a pretty quiet week. Let's have a look at actually we've only got 2 days of the week left really. You look at data, so very, very light on data today, no US data whatsoever. The final US GDP looking to be lower. And US home sales looking to be a little flatter. Pound current account, which is looking to be weaker. US core durable goods looking to be weaker. So it's not. Well, there is quite. So we'll get to be a little bit busier tomorrow, on Wednesday, and then Thursday. I'm not even going to bother. I don't think many people are going to be bothered to open their charts up. So not a lot one can say about that. So let's just move on. Look at the pound US. now we're underneath this level. I mean, was there anything in there today? Let's have a look. 84. That's pretty slow. That's very, very slow. I mean, look as if, if we can just drop under 860, just underneath here, then we can just keep tumbling down. Big picture, box pattern with the potential for that to drop lower. Pound yen, just coming 980 is the fib level. I mean, it's obviously very weak. 180 is a big number. Wow, it looks as if that could hold there all week, doesn't it? Are we really going to see enough volume in this market to drop lower? Well, certainly. This has actually given up 100 pips, but it was a rubbish euro, or fairly weak euro session. Bounced almost back to the euro session at lunchtime and then dropped. So we're going to have to. I'm going to have to leave it. I mean, there's just not a trade there. Pound Aussie, right on the line. That's a 50% fibs. So I'm just waiting to see what happens with 207. Looks, I guess, I mean, it looks. I've got to say, it looks lower, but certainly not going to trade at this stage. And euro yen. So I'm quickly flip through this because this is we're all in no man's land. So this euro yen has got a lot of resistance up there, just above it. This is time just to sit on your hands. New Zealand yen is fairly static. It's not really moving anything significantly. Let's have a look at the US dollar yen and the US dollar CAD. Wow, that's a huge area, isn't it? 121. Poised, absolutely poised. That could go either way. Now the 200 MA here, there's a huge amount of support. It's not been a great year for the US dollar yen at all. 115 down here in December, January. So we've been in a pretty tight box. We started the year just around 120, dropped to 115.80. So since we got into this area, we've just not been doing anything. Since that big drop in August, we sideways gradually ground their way up, dropped back again. I think the path of least resistance is definitely down, definitely. Any push into 122 could see that drop. And US dollar CAD. Let's look at the pound CAD a minute. I mean, if oil starts to pick up, this one could get hit. Keep the fibs on that level for now. But if we start to close under 206.75, that could push a lot lower. I think we at least need to come down 100 points to get to see if we can find some buyers. At which point, if they don't find any, I think they'll carry on dropping it. Oil. it just consolidates and then drops, so with a bit more consolidation, higher move into 37, and we could see that come down to potentially, I think it may come down to test 28.30, at which point we may get the bounce, but not many people are touching that at the moment, at least certainly not the upside. Let's look at the Aussie pairs, Aussie US. It looks lower. That's struggling with 72. I was wondering how it was going to hold up, but it's path of least resistance is down. Yeah, this is a bearish consolidation. The highs are just selling at the moment. I've got that 106.36 lined up because it's had a lot of history back here in May last year. Alright, so we look as if we could come down to 103.50 at this rate. 105 is a big number. Not a lot going on. Let's look at gold. Gold is so far a little higher. Now, I see some dollar weakness. Okay, so we've got a little slight push up in the euro, and we've got some buyers in the gold. When we look as if we're seeing a repeat of this pattern over here, so certainly closing above there is a help for the bulls. I'm not trading it for your reference, but so just looking at it in case anybody else is interested, but I'm not trading it. Okay, so really not looking to engage this market right now. If you look at some stocks, very, very weak. This is not a good time to start buying stocks. Just going into a long holiday period. I'm interested in banks next year. I'm going to give banks a lot of attention over the break. That's Barclays. I was up at 4:30 this morning, so excuse me if I yawn. It's a big yawn there just then. 4:30 UK time anyway. Just have a look at a couple of bellwethers. Wow, Nvidia's held up really well at the moment. I know Goldman's was selling, has been selling recently. That's definitely still in a selling phase. I would not contemplate any longs on that one. I would only contemplate shorts. I'm not going to short Goldman Sachs. Facebook. Last time we had a pattern like that, it was in August, when before we dropped hard. Okay, there's Apple. I'm going to finish up because there's just nothing cooking here. This is, we've just hit at the moment it looks like we've hit the Christmas quiet period already. Let's just have a look at a couple of oil stocks. I'm going to spend some time on oil stocks over the break. Just want to see if there's any sign the market is coming in after these oil stocks have been hit so badly. Anything you guys are seeing? Certainly going to be watching out for this one, Peterson Oil. Right, okay, I'm going to leave it. I'm really quite a bit of a headache now anyway, because I packed a lot in the last 36 hours. So I'm just not inclined to, but I may not even trade at all this week at this rate. I think tomorrow I will got some UK data out, haven't we? No, we haven't. Got some German data too. I haven't looked at the indices yet. Let's look at the DAX first. Oh, this was okay. Let's look at those stocks in a minute. Let me just grab what's happened with this one. So this one ran up in the... This is down to how I left the fibs on the charts on Friday. So we ran up really well into the Euro session and then just sold off. Wow. That's the only thing that's moving. Okay. Well, let's put the fibs on today's action. So we get a little reversal bar at 345 and then they drop it. Look at the Dow. That's how I left the fibs on Friday. So we came in and hit 260 and sold off an hour after the open. Right, I'm leaving it. So we're going to look at a couple of stocks, a couple of Andrew stocks, British Land and BT. Yeah, I'm very, very nervous about British Land, to be honest. So this is BT. I don't know where you got into this, Andrew, but that 500 was it's a massive marker. It's seen a lot of profit taking. Let's put it that way. If it can close above 550, then it can get going, I think. So this is the fibs on 2014, 2015 highs. We could potentially get another wave down to at least 443. What price did you get in on BT? There's another one of your dividend plays. Oh look, we're just coming to a gap fill. 475. You got we've got a little. We haven't quite. Yes, we have filled the gap because of that spike higher. But the 453. I don't know if you got into that quite recently, but this, it's a potential very difficult time of the year to get into a stock. Let's have a look at British Land. I have to say, at the moment, I think we're looking at 740. I think that looks as if that's coming down to 740. The stop's at 451 on BT, right? Okay. Well, I think 450 is quite likely, which puts that at a bit of predicament. Do you give it more room, or do you cut your losses? I mean, it depends on your exposure. The most important thing about this, trading in general, but that position at the moment is your position size. If you've got a high level of exposure, then, which you shouldn't have, basically 2,000, right? We'll come back to BT. I mean, this one, British Land. I mean, to me, that's got it could potentially, from low volume, if nothing else, we're making so high falls into this resistance, shorts and gaps, falls into this resistance, shorts, pulls back into this resistance, shorts. It's just stepping down, just really stepping down. Case for the bulls. Case for the bulls is we came up here in early December last year. We had a dip into the new year and didn't turn around until didn't really prove itself till about mid-January. So I mean, if we repeat this pattern here, we may see a little lower, come into 770 and then pick up if we can repeat this. But you're going to have to be very patient and sit and take a bit more heat. In the meantime, because it keeps closing lower, we've got no idea if that's going to stop. 785, right? So you're taking a little bit of heat on both of them, okay? Yeah, I for the part of the cycle we're in the markets, and for the resistance that showed at 800, particularly after we closed back down on 17th. That's hard to call. Yeah. Okay, so we picked up here on the 15th. Had a nice day on the 18th. Stopped 761. Okay, well, you're under 50%. You're under. Okay, so you're giving it a reasonable amount of room. Okay, so your chances of staying in that are a lot better. 755 was January 5th support. Tough. It's tough. It's definitely, obviously, closing. It's got some selling pressure. Tough. Let's have a look at BT again. Let's look at the 4 hour. Well, we've certainly got a lot of support here. The stop's quite close. You can see that gap in the 4 hour. The gap in the 4 hour says 452, and you've got to stop at 461. 451. Okay. Well, that's very close to the gap, the 4 hour gap fill at 452. That's all I'd say. Yeah, that is literally all I'd say. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there because can't seem to trade at the moment anyway. You're looking for the rebalance, okay. I think when I come into the room tomorrow, I'm going to be quite sort of relaxed about it and I'm going to come into the market weirdly, not to look to trade unless something really grabs me. I'll certainly look out for the UK data tomorrow, public sector borrowing. That's looking to be a lot heavier, so that might see some selling. That might get the pound working lower. Let's look at the pound US dollar. Yeah, we are clinging on. Nothing to trade today. There's not much to trade today. So we gapped up, held support. Not looking good. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I will be around in the room tomorrow, but taking it very easy. Alright, thanks. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.